Namaskar, namaskar. Welcome back, everyone. I know it's been 2 months, haven't seen you guys, haven't spoke to you guys. Hello, hello. Namaskar. If you're joining just now, welcome back to my channel. This is Aditya Soma. If you don't know me, I'm a real estate agent, real estate investor who starve for freedom, financial freedom. So if you're joining for the first time, I know it's been like 2 months. I haven't been on live that actively because I was living the freedom life. I was traveling to my back home, my home country, and also like Maldives, Dubai. So it's really, I've been missing you guys. I've been missing to talk to you guys. I know I enjoy these lives a lot because a lot of interaction happens. So yeah, if you're joining for the first time, let me know in the comments below. What's your name? Where are you joining from? Love to know you more. And how long you've been investing in real estate, and why are you, investing in real estate? So let me know in the comments below. Thank you, Mamta. Always. So if you don't know who's Mamta, that's my sweet wife. Of course, sometimes hot. What's up, everyone? Namaskar. Welcome back if you're joining for the first time. Um, so today's topic, like I mentioned in the title, I would like to discuss about selling a home. What's the cost? Because a lot of people doesn't know what are the costs involved to sell a home. A lot of people doesn't know that. Um, Even I didn't know until I sold my property what are the costs involved. So I thought I would talk about it and also just catch up with what's going on in the market. I know it's been a while I haven't talked about Windsor market. So what's going on in Windsor real estate market? I'll be talking about that as well. Um, Kunal, hey Kunal, joining from Oshawa. Thank you for joining. Helene, first time here. I appreciate your training at your company from Marland. I don't know where is Marland. Is it in Canada? Thank you for joining though. So yeah, I'll be talking about selling a home. I think I got out just few seconds ago there. Guys, I'm really extremely sorry. Looks like my Wi-Fi is kind of a little bit not so strong today. I don't know why. So bear with me. If you see me block out for a quick second, probably it will refresh. So, oh, in US. Oh, thank you. Glad to see, people joining from US. David from Oshawa. Good vibes. Hey, David, how are you? Yeah, so to start off with, like I was mentioning, the this in this channel, I talk a lot about financial freedom and achieving the financial freedom through real estate, because thanks to real estate, because of real estate, I'm having a freedom life here. I have traveled last 2 months to the places that I wanted for a long time, and we have done a lot of activities that, just because of real estate, because of the cash flow that I have. I don't have to worry about my income. So again, that's subscribe to our channel. Quickly touch on, what's going on in the market, right? So what I'm seeing is still the all over Ontario, most of the major cities are facing this issue, which is like the inventory is still very low. There is not many properties on the market, whereas still there are a lot of buyers looking to buy properties. So which makes the demand and supply, right? Like there is no supply, but the demand is there. So because of that, in last 2 months, the prices, like in Windsor at least, most of the properties just in 2 months jumped by like 50,000, which is like insane. Like that's a very rough number, and I'm going to dive into the actual numbers in a second here. But overall, there is like right now the prices are all time high, at least in Windsor history, and I believe the same thing in most of the major cities in Ontario. So that's like something we've been seeing the same thing, but the record high, like in Windsor right now, the average home prices are 636,422, which is like on an average the increase comparative to last year was 26%. So imagine like if you bought a home 1 year ago for 20% down, you already made over 100% return on your money just in less than 1 year. So which is like insane. um Again, that brings to a point where a lot of people asking me like, is it really a good time to buy? Is it really a good time to sell? To answer that question honestly, it really depends on where you're standing. So for that we got to dig more. But one thing I can tell, like if you've been thinking of selling, if you have like thought process of selling, definitely it's the best time to sell. um, and for buying side, if you don't own any assets till the date, then you got to be careful analyzing the deals. If you find a right deal, it doesn't hurt to buy. It's still definitely investing in real estate is the best way, I believe, like it's the best vehicle to have financial freedom. But before it was like a lot easier to find a good deal. Now you got to work really hard to you got to work. You got to put that, if you're working full time, if you're working from 9 to 5, you got to put that 5 to 10, that 5 hours finding the deals, writing offers, looking at hundreds of properties. So that's my take on the market side. And going back to the inventory side, right? Like, so the properties sold in Windsor market right now, like there were only 416 properties sold last month in January. So which actually the number of properties sold comparative to last month has gone down, whereas number of listings, at least in January, they are increased by 10%. There are 564 properties. So whereas in December there was like record low inventory, still the 546 number of listings on the market, it's still pretty low comparative to last year and before last year. So still the inventory is low. So that's a quick update on the Windsor market. And again, guys, feel free to throw any questions you have related to real estate investing, selling, buying. Don't hesitate to throw it in the comments, because I'm going to answer along the way while I'm talking about the topic. And I see Boina. Hey, Angie, how are you? Hope you had a great trip. Yes, fantastic trip. I really enjoyed it. It was a long day. I was waiting for this trip for last like 1.5 year. Um, Kunal, in Windsor also, it's going 200K over asking. Again, hey Kunal, yeah, like I mentioned, because the inventory is pretty low and the listing price, again, it depends on how the listing strategy, the pricing strategy. So looks like I'm back again. Let me know if you can see me. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Like I mentioned earlier, you guys have today our internet is like pretty worst. So going back to that listing price, 200K over asking is like, it really depends on the property. Not every property is selling for over asking, but on an average, lot of properties are selling for agents and the sellers, they're listing the property 200k below the market value or 150k below, and they're getting 200k over asking because of the demand. So yeah, on an average, a lot of properties are going over 200k. But as an investor, if you're looking to invest, right, you don't look at those properties. Don't look at if there are like more than, they're like bidding war. Try to stay away from that bidding war properties if you're like looking for cash flow or looking for a good investment property, unless if you see something hidden opportunity, like I don't know if you guys saw my last video a couple of videos ago. I posted a video about my ADU conversion in South Windsor. For that one, I paid 160,000 over asking. I have seen something like 160,000. It is still fluctuating. Sorry, I'm this Wi-Fi is again, then David is asking, can I reach you privately? Would you be open for one-on-one sessions? Definitely, me and my team, either one of us, will be more than happy to jump on a one-on-one call with you guys. I'll be my assistant will be leaving a phone number and email address for us. Make sure send us an email or call us. We will schedule in a one-on-one call. We'll be more than happy to do that. So another question from Rana: is it the worst period for the first-time homebuyers? Yeah, Rana. Unfortunately, yes, this is the worst time period for first-time homebuyers. But that being said, it's not, you know it's not the end of the world. There are deals out there. I purchased a property just 2 months ago before I left to India. It's closing next month. I'm doing a house office hacking where I'm going to have my office and have the other units pay my rent. And I purchased another single family home where I'm adding ADU. Probably if you have seen my Facebook story recently, I'm doing my first new construction, putting a tiny home like 730 square feet detached home in the back. So there are still opportunities. It's just you need to work more harder than before to find the right deal. Kunal, yes, I got your point. Did you see the appreciation of detached houses in Windsor in coming years? Do you see the appreciation? I mean, again, that's a really tough question, Kunal. That's $1 million question. If I can see it, I would be buying everything and anything, right? Because it's really tough question. With the Bank of Canada releasing a statement saying that they are considering of increasing the rates in probably March, or maybe after that meeting. We don't know how much they're going to increase. We don't know how much the interest rate's going to go up, and we don't know how much supply is going to come into the market. But one thing for sure is there is a projection for immigrants, new immigrants of at least 400,000 every year to Canada. So which is like huge uh, buyers going to come into the market. If the supply increases and if the interest rates go up by too much, maybe the market might stabilize, just go flat. Or but if the buyers continue to increase, and if the government of Canada doesn't increase the rates, maybe the rates might continue to go up. It's really hard to tell right now. Like, that's $1 million pill like question that everyone have. That's why, like, we as investors, we should be very cautious when buying right now. Like, we should be analyzing a lot of deals. We should be, we should not be buying just anything just because there is an appreciation. And if you watch my other videos, I never talk about appreciation. I try to avoid like talking about appreciation, because if the appreciation happens, that's a bonus. Rather focus on the fundamentals. Is the location good? Is the tenant quality is good? what's your income? Can it pay your expenses? Can you be creative to increase your cash flow? Can you find a creative deal, or can you find a deal where it can cash flow? So if you look at those stats, then you don't really focus on the appreciation, because now if it continue to appreciate, fantastic, you have more equity in your property. But if it doesn't appreciate, it's still fine, because you have your tenant paying your mortgage. Because in real estate, the biggest return on your money, the guaranteed return, is the leverage that you took, the mortgage pay down, the 80%. Because no matter what happens to the market next year or upcoming year, over the 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, you know that your tenants will be paying down your mortgage. So that means, like, just if you do the basic returns, if you buy the property up for a 500,000 and you put 20% down, 100,000 down, 400,000 mortgage from a bank, other people's money, and you have a tenant who is paying your mortgage down, by end of 25 years, now you have someone paid your mortgage down. So if you do that, your math, your 100,000 turned into 500,000 end of 25 years. So if you do your math, like year on year returns on your money, it will be on an average of 13%, which is guaranteed. Because we know that over, due to the inflation and all those things, the prices will go up in a long period. But if you focus on the short term, that's the thing, like you would be scared. Like, I would be scared if I start thinking about, like, what would happen next year, next month, 2 months, 3 months down the road. Because you're betting on appreciation, then you'll be scared to invest. Rather, focus on the fundamentals. That's my suggestion. So going on to the next question, David, how do you calculate the capital gain tax? I saw 15 to 20% online. That's huge cut in one's profit. So again, it's not a straight answer to say, like, every time you'll have 15 to 20%. First of all, a disclaimer: I'm not an accountant. I'm just a random guy on YouTube. So do your due diligence. Talk to your professionals. I'll tell you what I know. So how does the capital gains works in real estate? First of all, is it active income or passive income? So if you're doing flips, like you're buying, fixing and selling under a corporation, now it becomes active income. Generally, in that case, if your profit in that year is like less than 500,000, you come under small business tax bracket, which is like around 13%, give or take 13 to 15%, I believe. So whereas if you have a property and you're renting it out, and you're selling after 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years down the road, so now that's like a, quote unquote, in the taxes terminology, it's a passive investment. So you're selling your passive investment property. So in that case, so Canada, in Canada, 50% of the, like, net profit. So let's say you made a net profit after all your down payment, your expenses you spent on that property, after everything. If your net income, let's say 100,000, so on 100,000 you don't pay the taxes on the 100,000, they take 50% out. So you don't pay taxes on the 50%, so 50,000 is out. So now you have 50,000 income that goes on to your personal income. So whatever the tax bracket you come in that year, so let's say you didn't make any money and 50,000 is the income that you made in that year. So whatever the tax bracket, I believe it's around like 18% or 20% tax bracket. So you pay 20% or 18% on that 50,000, not on the 100,000, on that 50,000, 50%. But if you made like 100,000 income in that year, now this additional 50,000 added to your 100,000, so now you're in 150,000 tax bracket. So you got to look at what is the income tax for 150,000. Then government will calculate the tax according to that. So you can look up, if you want to know exact numbers, search for Ontario tax brackets. You will find like that exact percentage. So moving on to the topic, before I answer this question, let me answer this question and continue with the topic. So should I buy a pre-construction townhome in Ottawa for investment purpose? I'm a first-time home buyer. Swarnima, sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. So it's a good question. So first of all, to answer that, it really depends on your personal situation too. So there are advantages for buying a pre-construction, which is like, what's your closing date, the predicted closing date, um, and what is the down payment structure, and what's the projections on that pre-construction, what's the price you're buying it. So you got to ask so many questions. I like pre-construction. In some areas I do have a pre-constructions, like I purchased a detached home year and a half ago. Now it's appreciated by like 500,000. But pre-construction is a little bit of a gambling, when you're betting just based on the appreciation. But if you, after you take position, if your property, if you rent it out, and the income that you can generate from the property is good enough to pay your mortgage and the expenses, then it's still a good deal. So that's what I bought a detached home, which I know after I close it, which is like 1 year down the road, I can still, if I rent out for one family, I'll be probably like minus 200 or $300 from my pocket. But if I do a basement unit in the basement, and I will be like positive cash flow. So now I'm on a safe side. But for a first time home buyer, is it a good idea? It depends. So for example, as a first time home buyer, you have an advantage of buying a property for 5% down. Now if you're buying a pre-construction, you have to put approximately, again depends on the builder. Some builders ask for 10% down, some builders ask for 15% down. So right away you're paying that 10 or 15%. But the advantage is you don't have to go for a mortgage. So if you don't qualify for a mortgage right now, then your best bet is to go for pre-construction. But if you qualify for a mortgage for 5%, for whatever the price property you're looking to buy, and you have the 5% down right now, and you don't have 20% down, then the home, already resale home, is a better idea. So that's more like a one-on-one question. If you would like to chat more, if you're probably talk to someone in Ottawa who is an investor focused realtor, then they can guide you more based on your personal situation. But in general, both have their own advantages. So continue with the topic. What is the cost involved to sell a home? Because a lot of people doesn't know. Like especially right now, I'm thinking of selling. One of my primary home, the what I'm living right now, just to take the capital gain advantage and move on to the buy another nice one. So the first cost I'm looking at is the mortgage penalty. So if you have, you got to look at what mortgage you have. So first thing is give a call to your mortgage person. So they look at your mortgage, how much mortgage you have, and is your mortgage fixed or variable. Then they do the calculations accordingly, and they'll tell you what's the penalty if you sell your property now in this 1 month or 2 months. um, Again, that changes according to when you are selling your property. The biggest thing is, if it's a fixed, generally you have higher penalty. If it's variable, generally you have 3 months interest rate. So again, it's general. Just contact your mortgage agent for exact amount. And you can even, there are a lot of tools online. You can get some accurate estimation on what's your penalty. Generally, the lender whom you are with, better to communicate with them. They'll give you the exact accurate number. And the second cost is one of the major cost, which is the realtor fee. Yeah, we charge fees, right? So of course, we do that kind of work to get you the best price and best terms to, yeah, sell your property. But it comes with a cost, which is generally, again, there are some realtors who do for less price. But standard market standards for a single family home under $1 million, generally it's 5% of your sale price. Plus you have a HST on top of the sale price, on top of the 5%. So if you're selling a 500,000 home, you have 25,000 has a sales, the agent commission, which goes for both the buyer agent and the seller agent. So 25% will be divided for both the agents. And plus HST 13% on that 25%, 25,000. So that's a second major cost you have. And the third one is legal fees. So generally the legal fees when you're selling, it's somewhere from $1,000 to 1,500, maybe on the high side $2,000, and some miscellaneous cost. The fourth one is some miscellaneous cost, like, if you have rentals, hot water tank rental, and you agreed to buy out, or you haven't paid your taxes in last 1 year or 2 years, so now this is the time where city will take their money. So those kind of miscellaneous things that you haven't paid, or you have to clear off, so those will be. So these are the four major expenses you will have when you're selling your property. But again, going back to the point I was mentioning, right now we are sitting in an all-time high, and with the fear that is coming in, like with the interest rate increase, we don't know what's going to happen with that. But if you have any thoughts of selling, maybe because the inventory is still all-time low, and that the prices are all-time high. So I feel personally, if you have a thought to sell, this would be really a good time. And of course, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you're watching this, what do you think, what's going on in the market? Do you think it's a good idea to sell or not? Please let me know, because I'm not a guru or anything. I'm learning every day. So I'm just sharing my thoughts. What do you guys think about the market? What do you guys think about the Canada? How is the interest rate increase? Sorry, next question. If cash flow is in this crazy market, question. It really depends on your personal situation. If there are scenarios where I have bought a property with a negative cash flow, but a big but. So if I know that I can creatively increase the cash flow over the period. If you have seen my 17 unit building, I made a video, multiple videos on that. When I bought that building, it was negative cash flow, but I know I have a value to add in. I know I can increase the rents creatively to increase my cash flow, to go to positive cash flow. And same thing, I bought a single family home. I just rent that home for a single family. But what I have done, I have added ADU in the basement, and now I'm actually working on adding another ADU in the back. So now I'll be having over 1,500 cash flow. And right now, as is, I'm making over 700 cash flow. So I know when I bought it, it was negative cash flow, and now it's going to be positive cash flow. And there are scenarios where I did buy like pre-construction, for example. I know, one condo. I purchased a condo like, I think 7 months ago. That purely, I know I'm going to get minus $400 or $500 negative cash flow. But financially, and I have decent cash flow from other properties, so I can bear this minus this negative cash flow. And I believe in this project. So I said, I can gamble on this one property. So those are the times where I go for negative cash flow. But other than that, generally, like if you're just starting out, you don't have much income, and you're not like, you cannot like bear that negative minus cash flow for a long period, then don't go for it. Personally, I would not suggest. Like I said earlier, if you're in a good position, you know you can take gamble on one or two properties, or there is a value adding to do there. Maybe it's just a short period that you're going to have to be negative cash flow, then go for it. Hope that makes sense, Anji. So going on to the next question, BPURDX. Sorry, brother, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Let me know your name in the comments. Love to see what's the name. My accountant told me that the capital gain is 50% of the income you make is taxable, but only 35% of the 50% will be taxed. Okay, so number one point, 50% of the income will be taxable. That's right. That's exactly what I was referring to. So if you're making the net income on that sale, if it is 100,000, then the taxable income is 50,000. But the taxes on that 50,000 will be determined based on your personal income in that year, and if it is the corporation income or not, like it depends on where you're putting this 50,000. So that, because it's a taxable income, and you're not paying 35% of that taxable income always, it depends on your personal income as well. So but good to know. Thank you. David, fantastic. Thank you, David. So David, again, I live in Oshawa but cannot buy a house here. Prices are crazy. Would you advise I buy a condo in Oshawa, one bedroom, one bath, or buy a stand fully detached house with the same amount in Windsor? Again, I would go back and ask a personal question, right? What's your purpose of this property? And where do you stand financially? What's your current goals? Because, to answer that question, I can go on and on. We have to know answer. But sorry, guys, my wife. So going back to our David's question here, again, I have to know a little bit more to answer your question, but I'll give you a general my thoughts on this. Maybe let me see if I can connect. Guys, can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me back again. Looks like my Wi-Fi is back. I can see it, but thumbs up, down. Can you guys hear me? Up. Okay, fantastic. So, going back to our David's question, I'll give a general answer, right? So, if I were you, first, um, is this one bedroom condo? Is it for you to live in, or is it an investment property? I would ask that question first. If you say for you to live in, then living in your own where you're working, close to your workplace and your family situations, all those matters. So in that case, I have no comment. But if you're looking at it as an investment property and you would love to have cash flow, then look for a detached house. If your condo is not cash flowing, then look for a detached house so you can have a decent cash flow if your condo is not cash flowing. So personally, I prefer go for detached if you're just starting out. If you can, because with the detached you can increase your cash flow, whereas with the condo you cannot play that much, because whatever the place that you're getting, that one bedroom, one bath, that's it. You cannot do more than that. You're just like whatever the market appreciation or whatever the income you're receiving, that's it. Whereas detached homes, you have a lot more opportunity to value add in. But again, that being said, going back to your personal situation, right? Going back to your, what's the purpose of purchase? So many things goes into it. Okay, moving on to the next question. So, Boina, Anji, again, what's your opinion on buying old house like 1930s and do renovations? If I decide to sell after 3 years, will the age plays a role? What would you suggest? Again, great question. I get that question all the time, Anji, because especially for immigrants like us who are coming from India, we love new stuff. So old stuff means a little bit scary. But in North America, thank God, like everything can be renovated inside and still maintain the property solid and still keep it good. And that being said, when you're buying a 1930 property, the price comparative to 1930s to compare to new property, you're paying little less already when you're buying. So when you're selling, because you renovated the property, now you improve the condition, whereas brand new property you cannot do the improvements. So that's the reason I don't have much newer properties. All my properties, most of my properties, because I have two pre-constructions, leaving that aside, including my home that I'm living, everything is 50 years plus old. I have even 80 years old properties, and all of them appreciated because the whole Windsor is appreciating. So when the whole area is appreciating, of course your old property also appreciate accordingly, but the price of entry for newer properties or higher, of course the appreciation will be the same way. So same thing for the older properties, the point of entry will be the same way. But comparatively, overall the neighborhood is appreciating, overall the city is appreciating. So it doesn't hurt to buy a 1930s property or 1920s or 1950s. Just make sure you do an inspection, home inspection, make sure the structural integrity is solid. Arif, just waiting to see how crazy the market is going to if the interest rates are not increased in March. Yeah, man, me too. Me too. Really curious to see what's going to happen because there is a lot of fear out there, a lot of skepticism as well. Um, no idea, man. I love to see what's going to happen. YJ Sumant. Hey Sumant, how much are multifamily selling in Windsor? Do you guys offer property management services? So, good question. I'm glad you asked. So, me and my team, Win City Real Estate team here in Windsor, Ontario, again, we are investors. So, most of my agents are investors, including myself. So, that means, we do have all the contacts. Of course, we don't offer property management, like we don't do the management. We are good with helping our clients finding good properties, helping our clients selling the property for top dollar. We are good with that, not with the property management. But we do work with local property management companies, local contractors, local ourselves, right? So we provide those contacts for our clients. So yes, we do offer you all those services indirectly. um, and coming to the prices, so right now, still again, multifamilies, you can still find properties where potentially you can have a good cash flow. They're selling somewhere from 150 to 200 per door. Again, depends on what condition they're in, depends on how many bedrooms each unit are. But in general, I'm seeing like a really turnkey properties are selling around 200,000 per unit. And not so turnkey, where the rents are low, the market rents lower than the market rents, those are the properties that are selling probably around 150, 140, 160, 170. Again, depends on location too, depends on how the property was maintained. So many elements, but that's the range. Hope you got it. Arif, again, any issues or challenges to be considered selling a personal dwelling property within the first year of owning? Again, Arif, I'll give a statement before I give an answer. I'm not an accountant, so please, contact your accountant for, exact 100% answer. I'll tell what I know. So, if you're living in a house and if it's your primary resident and you're genuinely living in that house, so people say that you have to have 1 year, but as per the Canadian, like, law that I know, a tax law, you, even if you sell like in after 10 years or after 10 months or after 9 months, you can still claim it as a primary home if you don't own any other properties, or if you're not doing it again and again, just because the Canada looks at your intentions. If you're genuinely living in that house, you don't own any other investment properties, and you're not doing this for living, like you're not buying a property and selling after 1 year, you're buying another property selling after 1 year. If you're doing that often, now the red flag you, they dig more into, see if you're really living in that house, if it's really your primary home. In other than that, generally, like, because situations change, family situations change, job situation change, kids situation change, people do move. So when they're selling their primary home, thanks to Canadian government, at least in that case where we don't have capital gains. David, again, follow up to my previous question. Purpose is investment property. I own property, I live here. So the property I want to buy is an investment property. So great, David. If it's an investment property, then condo, again, follow up question for again, is your focus on cash flow, or you're purely want to have a property in a solid location, but you don't mind negative? Because that question also matters, because Ottawa, when it comes to, economy wise, like Ottawa and Toronto are pretty strong with the rental base and with the jobs. It's a strong secure cities comparative to Windsor. So in that case, if you don't mind negative cash flow, and if you don't mind having a condo, then your best bet is to stay there. But if you want to buy, have a cash flow, and you want to have a, like, your own backyard where you can add more value in future, maybe you can build ADUs, then I would go for detached homes in Windsor. Ola S, I love the name, sounds good. Is it the best time to sell? I see myself making like 300k off of my property if I sell now. Challenge is, what do I buy after? Great question. So again, that's the same question I asked myself. So it really depends, right? Like right now, we are sitting on all-time high prices. Um, so, as an investor, we don't stop looking for good deals. We don't stop looking for different opportunities. So, if you have a plan in place, like for example, for me, in my case, I want to sell my primary home because I know I don't have taxes here. Um, and I know even if I have taxes, if my taxes make sense to me for this year, and I want to get into bigger multifamily, because I cannot get all my money out from my refinance. So I prefer to go sell this home, and wait for go look for a nice right multifamily that I'm looking for. Or everyone have a different goals in life, right? So um, if it's the right time or not depends on your personal situation. But based on the market, definitely we are sitting on a really all-time high. So, but if your purpose is just purely sell and put into another good investment, yes, it's not easy. But is the deals out there available? Yeah, there are deals, definitely. Can you find them? Yeah, you just need to work harder than before. A year ago or 3 years ago, it was a lot more easier. Every deal was an opportunity. But now it's harder to find a good deal. So yeah, you definitely have to consider it. But if you want to have a one-on-one conversation on that to dig more into it, definitely we'll be more than happy if it's in Windsor. um, we'll put our email address and phone number in the comment, um, or in the description. You can see our phone number and email address, so please go there, reach out to us. We'll schedule a one-on-one appointment on a phone call. We'll talk more about your personal situation and see if it makes sense to you or not. Kunal, again, how to add up the value to increase the cash flow in an investment property? Do you think by doing renovations you can increase it? So doing renovations is one of the way, right? There are a bunch of ways you can increase value. For example, So look for it. If it's a single family home, you can add ADU in the basement, or you can add a bedroom, or you can add a washroom. If it's a 3 bedroom, 1 bath house, you can add another bathroom or a powder room. Or if it's a master bedroom, or if it's a master bedroom, or if it's a master bath, you can add a Sorry, guys, I don't know where you guys got me out, but my Wi-Fi again. So if it's a multifamily, so going back to the multifamilies, right? Like if it's a multifamily property, you can do for a while certain things and increase the rents, or add a coin box, or add a laundry, coin laundry, or add a machine, winding machine, or uplift the property by doing cosmetic updates like painting, flooring, drywall, or kitchen updates, washroom updates. So there I can go on and on what things can cash flow in specific, generally bedrooms, units, increasing the rents, adding the coin laundry. Sorry for the inconvenience with this Wi-Fi, guys. I promise I have no clue what's happening. It's generally my Wi-Fi is pretty strong, and it's a pretty strong bandwidth. I don't know what the heck is happening today. The weather is not bad. Okay, so going on to the next question. Vasudevan, is it the best time to sell single family house in Windsor? Have 100K plus offers coming in. Planning to buy duplex or triplex instead with the cash flow pulled out. What are your thoughts? Again, that's what I was talking just a few seconds ago. So yeah, definitely, especially if you want to upgrade yourself into the next version, right? Like if you want to go into um, more units, because when you have more units, you have more security. If one tenant doesn't pay the rent, you have a couple of tenants who can pay the rent. So if you have good amount of equity, definitely it's a good idea, because right now we are sitting on a really good timing where the prices are all-time high, and the demand for the properties is pretty high because the inventory is pretty low. But if you want to take this discussion on one-on-one, we'll be putting our email and phone number in the chat box. Please reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to connect on a phone call to discuss more if it makes sense in your personal situation or not, or to give you an estimation on what's your property value is, so then you can make an educated decision. So reach out to us. Moving on to the next question here. Abhishek, I'm willing to buy a property in Windsor within a month or so. As my second property for the budget is 250K. Is it possible? Sorry, Abhishek. I love to say, I love to help you to buy a property like that. But unfortunately, what we are seeing in Windsor, really, like, I would say impossible, because that's pretty much the lot value right now. If you're in a range of like 400, 350, maybe you can try. Maybe if you're lucky, you can find a good condos in Windsor for that 250K. But it's really like really tough to find something in that price range right now. Upfront 20%. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you pay 20% or even if you're paying 50%. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, video is seriously lagging because the stupid internet today is really bad. Let me see if I can connect my from my phone, the phone data. If that's the case, maybe we might have a better. Let me turn on my hotspot. The Wi-Fi is really bad today. Let me try that. If not, we have to, I have to see you guys next week. By the way, like we will have this lives every Thursday at 7 p.m. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where we will be posting, on the stories to give you a heads up, reminder about the lives, because sometimes we might change the time, but generally every Thursday 7 p.m. Um, Today, because of this stupid issue, I promise next week would not be like this. Yeah, even my phone Wi-Fi is the same story. Can you guys hear me at all right now? Let me know in the comments, yes or no. Yeah, yeah, okay. Good. So at least better now. Gural, what are your opinions on multifamily investing in Bellevue area? So first of all, Bellevue is one of the best neighborhood in Windsor. If you can find a good multifamily that can, that has a potential, or that has a decent income, definitely it's a great area. I would strongly recommend. Can hear you better now. Perfect. Glad to hear that. Also, in your experience, what is the best course of action to turn over units if the tenants are sitting at very low rent, cash for key, or what are the other options? So, so far, the best option is the cash for key, um, because there, I am. It's a slow process, but again, it depends on your skills, how good you are with the negotiating. The best the best thing hands down is cash for key. I know a couple of my clients, like who own 50 unit buildings, 60 unit buildings. They're doing that, like they're getting like pretty good amount of tenants taking the cash and leaving, because you can say, hey, if you don't take the cash, I'll give you N5, where we will be doing updates to improve the to make the building safe, because it's an older building. So if we give you N5, you only get 1 month rent, and anyways you got to move out, and if you have to come back, we'll be doing a lot of renovation, so you'll be paying market rents. Either ways, I'll be adding extra bedroom, so and so. So if you do that, now the tenants are like, do I take 1,000, or do I take 2,000, 3,000 instead of like 1 month rent? So cash for key is the best way. You just need to learn a little bit on the skill side, how to negotiate with them. Even I'm learning on that part, FYI. So if once I have a good success rate, I'll share my strategies on that. But that's the best way. Oh, Belleville. I thought you're referring to Bellevue, Bellevue River in Windsor, which is like after Tecumseh, uh, near Kingston. I believe that's the one. Let me Google. Unless if it's a different city. Oh yeah. Honestly, I don't know much about the city. I haven't been there. No, sorry, hold on. Yeah, it's a that's a neighborhood I'm referring to. It's yes, it's close to Kingston, uh, Kingston, Ontario. It's end of Tecumseh, Windsor, Tecumseh on the east side, and then next, like that's one of the prime location in Windsor. Like not Windsor Essex, I mean. So I have saved up to 80K. Would you recommend I invest in Windsor? I'm looking for 5% down, house price increasing annually. Looking for 5% house price increase annually. So Sahand, sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. So definitely, if you have 80K saved up with a 5%, like there are not many cities where you can buy an investment property for 20% down. So if you're putting 80,000, so with taking the closing cost out, probably you're qualified for like 350 or 400,000. So for 400,000 right now, yeah, if you work hard, you can still find something in Windsor. So definitely, if you have other options like any other city that has the same, you know, growth happening, like with the population and with the, you know, amount of appreciation that's happening, and with the amount of the low vacancy rate, um, then, you know, go for any city where you can find properties in that price point. I bet you, from my experience in this southern part of Ontario, Windsor is still the best option if you can afford something in that price range. 5% appreciation is no question, at least with what's going on right now. Again, if some correction happens, it will be all over most of the Ontario. So that's the appreciation, no one can predict 100%. So don't depend on the appreciation, rather focus on cash flow, mortgage pay down. If the appreciation happens, it's fantastic. And the basic fundamentals, like, you know, what's happening in the city. Is the city growing? Is the population in the city growing? Is there any jobs, new jobs coming into that city? Any, you know, if the overall the city economy is growing. So you got to look into those fundamentals rather than just looking for, oh, if I will buy only if the city has 5% appreciation every year. So, you know, maybe some cities are just growing now, their appreciation might be fantastic, but who knows, you know, if something happens to the city, you know, if some a big employer comes into that city, now all of a sudden the growth in that city will boost like crazy. So do a little bit more due diligence on the city that you're investing in. If it's in, definitely I would recommend in Windsor for now. What levels of cash for key are they are offering? Example, one tenant sitting at 800 per unit and it's worth around 1400. So I would start with 1 month rent, because you never know what's the tenant situation. If they're already like in a edge where they might move, they might take 1 month rent. Start with 1 month. If they don't, then say, hey, here, I'll give you 2 months rent. Or either sign the N5, where you only get 1 month, but here sign the N11, you will get 2 months rent. So then if they don't agree, try to, you know, go back with a 3 months rent. If you don't want to go through all that hustle, just give them, you know, right away for 2000 or 2500 or 3000. So generally I'm seeing like a lot of investors having a success around $2000, because most of the units are like in Windsor at least, are rented for like 600, 700, around that price point that you mentioned. So, guys, it's already like 8:03. So I'll be answering one or two more questions here, and you know, we'll be call it a day. Uh, and you know, again, like I mentioned, don't forget to, you know, come back every Thursday. Here we'll be answering questions, and we'll be coming up new topics, or sometimes I'll come with a guest who are specialized in different areas. So don't forget to subscribe and get the notifications, and make sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram with the same name, Aditya Kumar Soma, so that, you know, you can see all the stories, off market deals, or different kind of things. And of course, if you follow, I follow back, so I know who you are as well. So make sure to do that. And also, like, you know, if you would like to buy or sell in Windsor, you know, me and my team are you know, really happy to help you guys. So we have the email address and the phone number in the comments. So that's a small sales pitch there. So thank you for that. So let me answer the final question here. Sumant, how about JVs? Are you planning to start one? I would love to join. Sumant, I do JVs. Um, right now, I don't have anything in the pipeline, but if you want to go for like standard out there for another quick second. So I said we will definitely let you know if there is any opportunity for the email in the comment below. So last and final question for the night, guys. With that, I would thank you so much for joining. So just the final question I'll answer here is for the David. What's the average rent for the detached 3 bedroom or a townhouse in Windsor? So it depends on what condition it is in. Average rent, you're looking at 1800. But if it's a really good, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and very good condition, good size, with a basement, nice backyard, you can even get 2200, 2300. But if you want to go for like standard, a basic unit, 1800, 2000. So with that, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate for joining, and it's fun always answering these questions. I enjoy this lives all the time. So make sure to come back again, and make sure to share with your friends if anyone would love to get advice on real estate, how real estate can help you get freedom. So hope you will have a financial freedom soon with the real estate. With that, thank you so much.